Play music.
So, good evening. Thank you very much and welcome back. It's been more than a week since we last met on Grove, Malaysia. And just give me a minute. Let me just remove this thing. Yeah, right. And we are good to go. Yeah. So we are now back, and today we have two very special guests. Number one, we have got Dato Foo, who is the president of Malaysia Employment Agency Association, or those days it's known as PAPA. Started off with mates, now they do foreign workers, and they are now doing local workforce as well. Welcome to the program, Dato Foo. Welcome.
Hi.
Yeah. So you guys out there tonight, very special. Dato Foo doesn't always make appearance, very rare, and we have this excellent opportunity. And next, below Dato Foo, we have got Dato Michael Kang, who is the national president of SME, Malaysia SME Association. This man is no stranger to everyone. Everyone knows Dato Michael Kang, working tirelessly, and of course, he has been around. I follow him on Facebook. I follow him on his interviews almost every night. And thank you again for coming back, Dato Michael. I think this is the third time I interview you during the MCO and now at the CMCO. Welcome, Dato Michael.
Thank you, Bruce. Thank you, Dr. Bruce. Thank you for your invitation.
Thank you. So yeah, Mr. Chua from Johor, hello to you, and Dr. Andrew. Good evening to you, Mr. Siu Peng Wah. Hello to you. Your good friend Charanjit is just right there. Okay, so we are all at this place, and even in the middle of dinner, I have to come out here and conduct this very important interview with two persons. Okay, tonight's topic is going to be so interesting and it's going to be so controversial as well, which is the issue of workforce. Yeah, Dato Michael, this afternoon, I think, or morning, you were at HRDF. We are going to be talking about workforce and the labor market. So Dato Michael, or maybe I speak to Dato Foo first. In Malaysia, how many people are working and how many of us are locals and how many are foreigners? We are going to be talking about local and foreign workforce. Dato, over to you.
Okay, if I'm not mistaken, we have about 16 million workforce, 16 million people. Okay, for Malaysians who are now is our work population 16 million, and we got about 2 million legitimate migrants worker. And according to our former Prime Minister, he said that we got about 4.5 million illegal.
Wow.
So that means, but our unemployment rate, as the first quarter of this year before the MCO, is about 3.3%. So it's mean to say that we have about 500,000 people being unemployed at that time. And now, according to the MIER and also the MEF, their figures, they have stated a couple of months ago that our unemployment rate will be about 15% or 2.4 million. And of course, our MBS is a bit conservative. They say unemployment will be shoot up to 2 million. And if we compare to the two previous economic crises, which started in year 1997, and also in the year of 2008, our unemployment rate, the highest is only 4%, you see. Yeah, so now hopefully that the unemployment rate won't materialize,
Well, we wouldn't know because these are unprecedented times. Thank you so much, Dato Foo. One thing is clear. Number one, we have got a high unemployment rate even before the MCO. Okay, now post MCO, we're going to be faced with even higher unemployment rate.
No, I think before the MCO, we consider it's a full employment because it's only 3.3%.
Okay, full employment. Sorry, pardon.
Yes, yeah.
But one thing is clear as well, what you mentioned, foreign workers, the ratio to the Malaysian workforce is still
Yes.
relatively high. Am I right? Is this the
Yes.
situation for Malaysia? What about other countries? Can you give me an idea? Because we just can't say Malaysia is high. How does Malaysia compare to other countries?
You
Dato Foo.
compare with Singapore, they also got about 1 million. And then you go to the Middle East, basically there are also a lot of foreigners handling their jobs, you see. So even you go to Italy, also Bangladeshi there.
Yeah,
So it's not a matter of what is the big number, it's how you manage them.
correct.
What kind of mechanism that you are putting in place to manage them. If they can they produce the productivity to our nations, and then we are really in shortage of manpower for local manpower, then you have no choice unless we can uplift our technological ladders industry. Then will be a different story, is it?
Yeah.
Then of course we have to look into our educational system lah,
But that is a very long thing.
Story lah.
Yeah, that's a
Yeah.
long story, to automate, get the
Yeah.
education. But whatever it is, there's a space required for this skilled and unskilled workers. And this is not filled by the locals, and therefore the foreigners come in. It's the same scenario in Singapore. Yeah, the Singaporeans don't want to work in what we call the 3D jobs. Yeah, the 3D jobs are
Yes.
dangerous, dirty kind of jobs. So this is filled by the foreign workers. So seems to be having a good synergy, the way I see it, right? We need the foreign workers, they came in, they work. It has been like that, I think, for a few decades already. And I think
Yes.
our industry is quite accustomed to it. What are the advantages and disadvantages, Datuk Michael Kang, of having foreign workers and disadvantages of having foreign workers in concept, in principle, before the MCO? Datuk.
I think okay. Thank you, Dato Bruce and Dato Foo. I think everyone know that actually before MCO, you can see for past 2 years, our countries which we were talking about, they bring in the foreign workers. I think not as many as before, as many as before. I don't think the figure which is the former Prime Minister mentions, illegal, there is a 4.5 million. I don't think there's any, they got so many, You can see for last 2-3 months, the MCO and CMCO lockdown, I don't think we have such a numbers, which is illegals, which is about more than 4.5 million. For me, I predict about maximum it goes up to 2 million, because in between last, I think, about 3 years, in 3 years time, I think a lot of these illegals have been sending back, and also some of them already go their way home, even like after the enforcement. I don't think we have so much. This is what I'm foresee. As what Dato Foo mentioned, before the MCO, yes, previously before this COVID-19, yes, this unemployment rate is 3.3%. And you can see the statistics government announced in the first quarter, we are 3.9% unemployment rate. So already increased, our unemployment rate already increased from 3.3 to 3.9. You can see the figures. There's not including the April, May. I think this going to come June. I think these 2-3 months are going to be a huge numbers of unemployed. As you read today, the job street already announced that for their survey, the survey from their figures is 20% unemployed rate. It's 20% to be 3.2 million, which is 16 million workforce in the country. So 3.2 million going to lose a job. It's very soon we can see that Genting yesterday already retrenched 3,600 over staff. You can see every on and off, I think in third, from June onward, a lot of these employee will be retrenched. Like what we did a survey at the same time also, the figures, the reply from our survey, also they mentioned 30% of the SME going to do the retrenchment. So you can see 30% will do the retrenchment, will cut down the numbers of average about 30%. So from the SME 30% plus the MMC plus others, I think average out, I think 20% is quite reasonable figure, provided government are taking taking the action to help the industry, on the business, how to rebuild, reform our economy and help the SME to survive. If SME can't survive, I think this 20% will be higher. It should be higher. You can see like what the
Dato, I think we have a problem with the line.
Yeah.
Can you hear me? Okay, I think we have a problem with the line, Dato Michael. Can you hear me? You guys are the audience out there. Are you able to hear me? Okay, if you are able to hear me,
MOF Minister for May,
yeah.
the wage subsidy program. Participate in these figures. We have 16.
I think we have lost a little bit of the line over there.
Yeah.
Dato Michael, can you hear me?
Yeah. Can you hear me? Can. Okay, sorry. My line suddenly cut off.
Unemployment.
Well, yeah, unemployment. You can see.
We know you have already shared many times when it comes to the MCO and the CMCO, especially the MCO period. You find that retrenchment will come in. People lose their jobs. Does this affect the foreigners or the local workforce? What is the breakdown like?
I think I think breakdown. I think local and foreigner also they will lost the job. A lot of factory, like you can see, a lot of operation business. Previously, they have engaged quite numbers of foreign workers. I think this round quite numbers also they were sending back because they can't, because they have access of the manpower, so they can't use their workforce anymore. So if they are legal, they're bringing in legal way. I think they already try to find a way. Numbers of our members call us, how can we send it back, to during this period or to do the document and send it back. But you can see locals as well, no foreigner also same thing. But those illegal, definitely I can foresee the illegals or those who are employed under the agents, provided by agent, all those. I think that would be the biggest problem in for the time being. The way I look at it, those are illegals and the employed under agent provided by the agent. I think those workers already nobody taking care. I think this is scattered around in the country. This is the biggest problem now we are facing. So which is I say that legal illegal workers, but legals I don't think there's any problem with that. Like yesterday when I talked to furniture industry, he told me, originally when during MCO lockdown, when he do his members within the furniture association, they have access 5,004 foreign workers. They say so they offer out to all the members, whoever want to take it up the legals worker for 5,004. But when after CMCO, every single one they offer out. They say no, sorry, we cannot offer anymore because our order coming back. We our production keep increasing. So yesterday when I met down, he said when he do a simple survey, at least they need now 20 to 30,000 foreign workers or workforce, whether it's local workers or foreign workers. So that is the problem now. So I think certain industry, I don't think there is they have problem on the foreign workers, but the certain industry they might give up the foreign workers. So we have to seriously look into this issue, how we can sort it out. So the other way is like when I talk to the furniture industry, I say the other way is I don't think now you want to bring in foreign workers is not definitely it's not possible because even today government give you the approval. I don't think there's any foreign worker willing to come over because of MCO time. Because traveling, nobody want to come because who dare to come because of the this COVID-19. So I don't think you're able to, the only way they have to do is source from local because like I just mentioned, even today our job rate also announced 20% we're going to lay off. So we had to find workers from here, those who are laying off, those are jobless, how we can manage it to place for those industry who need, like food industry. It's the same thing, food industry. They call me, their capacity, their production increased 100%. So they need additional workforce. Same thing, certain industry, they had to lay off the staff. That's why the whole industry are restructuring, reform. We had to, I think, do something on it. Yeah.
Yeah. You mentioned
Yeah.
something. Now the industry have to reform. And you mentioned
Yes.
also that this COVID-19, they don't choose whether foreign or local. Everybody gets hit with this unemployment. Now let's take a step back. Let's take a step back and again ask, because COVID-19, you say restructure everything, level everything.
Yeah.
Do we want things to continue the way it is, or does this present an opportunity for us in Malaysia to re-look at the proper way to do things moving forward? So previously we have got a lot of illegals. Yeah, we
Yes.
already mentioned the unofficial number from the former Prime Minister. Now, do you want to legalize? Do we still want to depend on foreign workers? Do we want to bring in the locals? Do you want to go about automation? These are the things that we want to discuss later. But again, for past 2 decades, we have been so dependent on foreign workers. Why? Probably, in my opinion, they are a relatively cheap source of labor, readily available, the right mindset. Some say after some time, they are also very, very productive. That's why even the illegal, you want to legalize them because you have gone so much training already, lifelong training with us in Malaysia. I hear this from the employers. Do we want this to continue or not? And on the other hand, we also hear, number one, foreign worker is big business. Dato Foo, I'm not sure. Yeah, for every foreign worker that come in, there are many agents, there are many middlemen, and people make money out of this. And because of this, we are all addicted to this money-making machine, and we are addicted to this cheap labor. I'm not saying no good, but they are good, but they have been honed for so long. But nevertheless, all the wages that is paid gets repatriated back. It's not, spent back in Malaysia. So is this a positive trend or is this a negative trend? There seems to be two sides to it. And we add that to even today's this COVID results. We find that quite a high number of those who get infected with the virus come from, foreign workers. Do we want to take this opportunity to change things, or should we let things be, or take a position anywhere in between? What are your views, Dato Foo?
Prior to the pre-COVID and the post-COVID, there may be some change in the landscape. Because prior to the COVID, so actually we are in the acute shortage of manpower. So we rely upon the foreign worker. And for the post-COVID, we are expecting the high number of retrenched workers in Malaysia. And of course, some factories, they are starting retrenching foreign workers, send them back to the country. And of course, it's a good news that the furniture manufacturers, they are in shortage now. So, you see talk about numbers. Before COVID, there are shortage. And our unemployment numbers of unemployed local workers are not sufficient to fill up the vacancy. So now with the huge number of retrenched workers, whether this number is enough to fill up the vacancy left by the foreign worker, number one. Number two, are we willing to fill up this kind of 3D jobs? Of course, today I look at the stars, there fun place, there's one fitness trainer. They started work in the wet market, you see. So, of course, this is quite inspiring. Then whether Malaysia are willing to do this or not, you see. So, To me, as far as I'm concerned, to hire a foreign worker has never been a cheap source because the employer have to bear for their levies, to provide their accommodations. When you add up all these things, actually it's higher than the local. It's higher than the locals. So why people want to hire foreigner instead of local? Because certain cluster of workforce, they have some working attitude was some problem. High absenteeism, or cannot stay long, and high turnover of them, and so on. So I think those who have hired local worker before, they know, and they take leave like nobody business, and all these things happen. And so why these people resort, the employer resort to hire the foreign worker. But to me, this is not a healthy sign to hire a foreign worker, but we should take it as an interim measure. But how to educate a local, how to change our local mindset that they are willing to take up the job, you see? That's a big challenge ahead. And I think our government has been trying for so long, and there's no taker. But with this COVID, I hope it will change a bit. It will change a bit. And we have do some local recruitments, like actually there are still a lot of workers in a certain state. But the question is that they are not willing to come down to Klang Valley because they find that even though the Klang Valley will make them to make extra money, but they say that I stay in my hometown with that small amount of salary, I'm happy because it's good enough because the cost of living is low and so on, you see. So it's not, we need to look at all perspectives, not from only one angle. But for one thing for sure is that hire foreign worker is never be a chief.
Yes.
It's a chief things. Okay. And of course it do create some social problem. Create some social problem. And our system have a flaw because why? We encourage a lot of foreign workers. We hire, our actual Malaysian hire a lot of illegal workers. And why they hire illegal workers? Why they hire illegal workers? Because there are two types of employer. One is that never wanted to pay levy. The other one is that they want to get the illegal worker, but they never be able to get it. They never be able to get it because why? There's such a stringent rule applied to them and fail them. So when you just imagine when a small entrepreneur, they have started their business for years and suddenly they have no workers, are we asking them to shut down? No way, they will take a risk to hire the illegal. This is the problem. So if the government was so balanced, if really in need of manpower, being it a local or foreigners, so the government should provide the opportunity for them. What kind of mechanism that the government is ready to provide them? And then you only can solve the problem. Now, of course, there was a minister before, they say that, okay, I want to control the foreign worker to reduce the dependency on the foreign worker. It's very easy to reduce the dependency, just a stroke of pen, you see. Then you tighten the rules, then they cannot come in anymore. Then who is suffering? I just got the example in year 2008. There's a financial crisis created started from US. So during 2008, electronic industry suffered the most. And then we have sent back about a few 100,000 foreign workers during that time. That means the number from 2 million reduced to 1.5 million within a few months because the electronic industry cannot sustain. But the electronic industry rebound in the second quarter of 2009. But our policy never followed the pace of the change.
Yeah.
So that caused some electronic factory move out from Malaysia.
Yes.
So it depends on how we have a flexible policy to tackle this problem. Of course, foreign worker may cause social problem, but they bring more benefit to our manufacturers. I thought in terms of the foreign exchange, of course, there is a big outflow of the fund. That is for sure. So that is one of the disadvantage. But the thing is that can we live without them? This is a question that we have to face it. If we cannot live without them, then we must find a solution to see how to strike a balance between the two. Of course, the local workers must be willing to work, and we must be able to have a sufficient number. I believe that if we have a sufficient local worker, and Malaysian employers are more willing to take them rather than the foreign worker, because foreign workers have a high turnover as well. Every 3 years, 4 years, they wanted to go back. You see, yeah.
Okay.
So, yeah.
Sorry, Dato, if I may summarize.
Yeah.
Foreign workers are expensive. They are here to fill a void that in the past few decades, we have not been able to fill. We have not been able to get local graduates, local school leavers, to join our workforce, yes, and do these jobs. Number two, we also missed the boat. We didn't upgrade ourselves into automation, into Industry 4.0. And because of this, locals are not willing to work in these 3D jobs, factories, and so on. We don't have the automation nor the technology to do it. And because of that, we have to be very, very reliant and pay expensive costs to hire these foreign workers. Should this continue, let's say if we say we want to take this opportunity, because right now, even if we want them, like Dato Michael mentioned just now, the factory now open already, want to hire them back, also don't know where to find. Number two, even if you want to hire them back, there's also additional costs. You've got to test them, you've got to check them, you've got to do social distancing, and it becomes the cost of running the business has gone up. So now moving forward, what can we do to bring back the locals? What can we do in order to automate? What can we do, or if you want to still bring back the foreign workers, what is the solution to this? Because I still see a problem. You want the local, they are not willing to work, and the employers are not willing to pay their expectation. There's a mismatch in terms of expectation. All the locals want easy job, high pay. Employers want them to do hard work and not so high pay. How do you reconcile this, Dato Michael?
I think this is the time, the way I look at it. After this pandemic, I think we were able to do a lot of transformation. I think there's a great opportunity for the Malaysia industry to do some transformation and reform and restart the whole economy. These sectors, how we can rebuild the whole thing. I think definitely we are talking about foreign workers. We definitely need certain numbers of foreign workers, but we must manage it, especially those foreign workers. We still need certain industry might need it for the 3D job. But during this time, I think we hope that most of the SME can take this opportunity to transform, to go into the digitization, or to make it into the AI or Industry 4.0. I think to move toward to the Industry 4.0, I think for Malaysia SME, I think we need another easily, we talk about 2 to 3 years time if we need to transform. So at the same time, this opportunity, a lot of Malaysian lost a job. I think this is the best time for the SME to train locals and fix into the automation or using machinery to operate or semi-auto. I think this is important for the SME. Yes, yesterday when I talked to the furniture industry, yes, they say yes, there are some of their members have a problem to go for automate. Why? Because I asked him why. Because he told me, because you see, the volume of the SME currently they're facing another dilemma is the volume is not enough. If today they're going to invest in automation, mean that even semi-auto, let's say today they invest $500,000, but the volume, which is the sales, the numbers is not enough to pay back the bank loan. This is dilemma which SME face. When I talked to him, he said yes. Then we had to find a mechanism for this during after pandemic. After the post COVID, I think we have to find a solution. How government should able to come in to help on the industry, maybe to provide some certain assistance, through the SME. Then SME will bring in some machine and train local to operate the machine and slowly to build up the numbers of the sales. How to build up the numbers of sales. So it would take time, maybe 2 or 3 years, then to overcome, slowly transform into the semi-auto or auto. Then we can, at the same time, we can reduce the numbers of foreign workers, dependent on the laborers. I think we have to do something for this after this pandemic. Against I just mentioned, a lot of the SME now they have to restructure their business, have to restart their business. I think this is the most important. When they do the restart, when they do the resetting of their business, I think they will definitely assess additional 30 to 40% staff, because the volume is not that big, because a lot of sales, a lot of orders have been cut down. I think this is the way I'm looking at. So we have to find a solution. I think the most important, find a solution how we can help this the SME to moving into the automation and industry 4.0.
That's a very good suggestion, Dato, because you are saying let's not just jump completely into automation. Have a halfway, step-by-step way, gradually take in locals, wean yourself off foreign, and then get this thing. And this is the best time to do it, because this MCO is an accelerator. A lot of SMEs never touched before technology. Now, because of this 70 over days, all also jump into, like we are here on this FB Live. Never done it before, but because of this pandemic, everyone goes on live and they do delivery, they go online. So it's a great accelerator, especially for SMEs to try things that they have never tried before. Previously, always been firefighting. But then again, the question is, I'm also the advisor to the Ministry of Education, Higher Education, the polytechnics, community colleges, and so on. They have a lot of graduates. They are also from the technical schools out. Even school leavers, they're all out. How come they are not taking up these jobs? Do you think now COVID, because now if you read the Star newspaper today, they say don't be so choosy anymore, because jobs are so tough to come by. Should we take this opportunity or not? It's like, don't be so choosy. Jobs are tough to come by. Take this salary first, get experience. Do you think it's a good opportunity? From your end, Papa's end, you have got a lot of employment agencies, Dato Foo.
Yes.
I'm sure during the MCO, taking in foreign workers, that has been largely affected. And many of your agencies would have pivoted into locals. Can you tell us a little bit of your experience? Is it easy or not to recruit the locals and place them for employment? Dato.
It's never been an easy task. So we have done the recruitment in Sabah, Sarawak before. During our interview, we may be able to shortlist about 100 workers. So then we come for the basic briefing. It may 50 turn up, and come for actual deployment, they may 20 only.
And they say Sabah and Sarawak are the best local workers. Sabah, Sarawak.
Yeah, so it may be 20 only.
The South China Sea to get here. Not so easy to run away.
No, not so easy. Then when you deploy them, only 20 will come to Peninsula.
Yeah.
So then for those who can work for more than 3 months, maybe half. So it never be an easy task. And then of course we are willing to help government, to work together with the government to convince local to convince the enterprise to take local workers. Because as I said before, it's never been cheap to hire foreigners. So, and then of course, I should say, it needs a while to change the mindset. Because Malaysians, they do not want to work that kind of 3D job. Even even they work for the foreigners on other administrative work, because of the cultural shock, they may not get used to the kind of culture, just like they work with the China company. So a lot of Malaysians, they cannot stand it because it's a cultural shock. To them, they are totally way of managing employees. So we have to adapt ourselves. If not, we can't accommodate to them. Well, even though they pay them a high pay, but they cannot stand the kind of pressure, because Malaysia are more relaxed. So these things are that we have to adapt ourselves. So otherwise, we'll be losing out. Just like you say, now we have a lot of unemployed graduate. I think graduate now is come to a figure of 200,000. But these people are not willing to lower down their standard to work at the blue collar jobs. And then furthermore, I think you are in the educational industry. We have a very limited polytechnic. We produce very little blue collar workers. That's the reason why we need the foreign worker to fill up this vacancy. So this is depend on how the government will direct us heading to. Government policy is very important, but you see now we have a lot of university. I think the number of universities is more than the polytechnic now in Malaysia. So we don't have that kind of level. So then you ask the university graduate to work for the lower job, a lot of them, they are not deducted. Some of the reason because they find that they lose face. There is a very realistic kind of things. They say they lose face because his friend got a good job, then he work as a clerk or whatsoever, or even the machine operators. They find that if you lose face, so this is the thing that how are we going to overcome and how to change our mindset. So correct. This is your job, Dato Bruce.
I like what you mentioned just now, mindset. Okay, you have got the local workers, but they are not taking up the jobs that is left by the foreigners. Okay, and one of the biggest thing is the idea of mindset. Mindset, and another one is their own skill set. Skill set is easy to train, but mindset is not so easy to train. Now, do you think the government, and you say government has to come in, Dato Michael, you were just at HRDF earlier today, and they have recently announced a lot of strategic initiative because they say people are now getting unemployed. So they have initiative to employ people as well as not only employ, train them as well, because that's the only way to fill in the gap. Because if you just employ them, they will not want to get the same salary as the foreigners are getting. You got to make sure they are more productive. You got to make sure they have higher skills in order to receive a higher salary. So you're right, training is part of it. Come in, not only place, you got to upskill and upgrade their level and probably certify them up to a certain level, and that's where they become more productive. They give more, contribute more to the company, and the company, the employers, feel that it's justified to pay them that higher amount. This is in theory. Now the question is, Dato Michael, are the government priorities right? How do you capture mindset? How do you train mindset? How do you develop mindset? Who is going to do it? The government change the mindset, or do we leave it to the schools? Do we leave it to the polytechs, to the universities? Who is supposed to change the mindset? Is it a collective effort? Your views, please, Dato.
I think thank you, Dato Prof. I think this to turn the mindset. I think this is the best time as well. Because a lot of people will lost a job. Because they also know that a lot of the employee, they're worried they lost a job. They're not easy to find job now because of the time. So that is why I think we need to do collectively to change their mindset. We must get them to adopt. So that's why today I was at the HRDF and we discussed about how we can help the association and the employer can help together work with HRDF to train, reskill, upskill the current employee. If current employee, because you see, I just mentioned there are a lot of the company, they are restructuring, reset their business, realign their business models. No, so that means majority of their staff, current staff, might not able to fix in to the new business models. So they need train, they need upskilling, they need training, they need reskill the knowledge on the business models to work on their workplace now. So that is the importance. That's why today when we discuss, how we hope that the government will come up additional budget during this pandemic time. I think they're going to announce on the Fridays. We talk about the restart the economy. I think this is one part of the economy rebuild and restart program. But on Friday, we hope that the PM will announce that they come out additional budget to assist the industry to reskill, upskill, and to train the current staff plus those who are were laid off and they got no job. So we can do a place and train, not only train or place. With the ballet, come back. We have to place first and only and train.
Correct.
So that they can match the industry, what industry need. This is the way we are looking at.
Okay, place and train. What should the content be? Who is going to determine the content from the industry?
I think the content. I think the content should come from the industry and some expert. As I mentioned, you see when the company restructure the business today, when they restructure the business, let's say a company they have 50 staff. Maybe after restructuring because of sales, because of the customer base, certain customer already no longer able to generate sale for the company. They have to move into the digitization. There might certain of the good stuff. Maybe they have previously they worked at the marketing division. So now we can transfer them to the production department, so he can handle production or he can handle the store. But he need knowledge. We need to train them. So we need to train all those staff to reskill them, to adapt into the new norm, new business model. I think this is the most important. If we can't get the good stuff internally, we can get from the outside. But when getting from the outside, that stuff that when coming, we need to train. The industry to fulfill to that post. I think we need training. Like certain industry, like current, I just mentioned the food industry. A majority of food industry are looking for additional staff. Additional the manufacturing. They say I have 2 weeks ago this food factory in Johor. They said, Michael, can you help me to find 30 workers? I need 30 local. If we can get local for me immediate, because we need to increase our production. Our overseas orders have been increased, a few containers every month. So we need to expand our production line. Now, all this, but when you get the locals, I don't think local able to fill it in because they need training. So the industry had to come up a training module, or there can some of the module they had to train in the workshop direct there, but the other one we have to train on-site training. The employer have to do some training on site as well. So both will be able to assist the employee to adapt into the new environment.
Okay, what you mentioned is good because number one, SMEs, I know SMEs, they know how to do, but you ask them to build modules. The industry doesn't know how to build the models. No way. It's going to take a long time.
Yes, long time.
So what you need is a lot of on-site, on-the-job kind of training. But that is for upskilling and reskilling. Dato Foo just now mentioned a very important thing about mindset. And I think our locals also now need to be gritty. Cannot just demand for money. High salary. Some even talk about work first. Prove yourself, then only you get your salary. Now, how are you going to train this mindset and this grit among our young school leavers? They're all like strawberries already, never experienced war, hardship. A lot I've experienced. First 2 weeks of working, the parents will be calling every day and say, wow, you work 8 hours a day, poor thing, come back to the kampong. You know, I hear this, come back to the kampong lah, you know, Papa and Mama can feed you, don't have to work so hard. How are we going to overcome this strawberry babies, these kids that are coming out and inculcate this thing? It's not that the employers are going to torture them, but it's all part of work. You need to produce an honest day work, be productive, yeah, so that what you produce is more than what you take back, and that creates wealth all around. So how do you create this mindset, Dato Foo?
Actually, I still will fall back to the educational systems.
Yeah.
Like you say that, like these strawberries, how to create a good mindset, how to instigate a good mindset to them. I think maybe the government was to start maybe they started from Form 4 or Form 5. So to give the student to have the apprenticeship maybe for 2 weeks during the school holiday,
Yes.
treat it as a curriculums activities. So like for instance, like I send them to the FMB for training for 2 weeks. At least from there, you cultivate them with a good culture, good attitude, and let them exposed to the working environment. They know that, oh, if I want to make money, I should work on all these things, and then also let them to feel that this is a working environment. There's something new to them because they're easy to learn. Will be a fast learner at that teenage age, you see. So I think that's from the education level, from the education's level. We started from that level lah. So I think maybe from there we can produce more students. Just like you see, like the student in the overseas university, they emphasize on the internship. And you compare to local, see a lot of people they say, never mind, I don't need to do internship. You see? So it's the two entirely different culture. So we need to educate them, to cultivate them at a young age. So then they know that I want to make this money, because you see when they're the teenager, they have a very limited pocket money. So they say, I work for 2 weeks, then I get so much money, pocket money.
Yeah.
So there's some form of motivations. Then from there, they know that I want to earn money, I have to put it effort so that I can make money. You see, rather than they worry when they come to a certain stage, like they are 20 years old, like say Papa, Mama always feed them. Then they get used to it. Then you ask them to work, they may not want to work.
Correct.
You see?
And Dato,
yeah,
you remind me, yesterday when I looked into the profile of my Facebook people who liked my post, I found that the average age of people who like my post and agree with what I say, they are all in their 50s and 60s.
Yeah.
They're all in the 50s and 60s. Very few
But
in the
they're
20s and
not
very
the
few
young.
in their teens.
Yeah.
Okay, so I just realized I am out of touch with probably the young group. Okay. So now again,
That's why we need to.
yeah, I mean now they are not even watching this program. I'm sure they are not even watching this program. They are not even on Facebook. They are on Instagram and things like that. You know, my daughter tells me I don't watch Facebook. So I can see a gap, a huge
Mismatch.
gap here.
A gap, yeah.
And whatever they see on Instagram, it's all beautiful things. Yeah. So everyone is looking good, working in very googly office, nice Google office, and things like that. And we were all victims. This Google, the tech startups, you know, Alibaba in China right now, and so on. They have all gone into textbooks as best practice companies. Do these success stories or these case studies actually spoil kids? And it's now entered textbooks, and our lecturers in schools are teaching them. Have we lost our focus somehow? You know, by focusing a lot on this Google kind of practice, everyone wants to work in a nice playground in a theme park rather than doing some real work and looking at productivity. Is what I'm saying only resonating with people in the 50s? How are we going to reach out to the young from the schools, from the universities, and even the lecturers and the teachers who teach them. Any views? I should get someone in their 20s in this forum. Next. Okay. Any one of you, Dato Michael, Dato Foo.
I think okay. I think. Yes, no doubt we have to adopt their culture. I think this is a way. I think whether you are in 50, 60, or even 70, 80, I think this will be a group. You know, the youngster. You know, like 20 years old, those people or 20 plus. I think they have their own. Space, you know, to do the way they learn, the way they are find they have own space to live with. So we have to adapt into the system, you know, to work together. That's why I always tell the SME, I know this time, you know, we cannot, we have to stand on their point of view to understand what they want. You know, in the future, I think like what I last 2 months, I would tell the SME, after the pandemic, the whole business model will be changed.
Yeah.
You know, there will be, you know, no longer, you know, I'm the boss, you are the staff, you know, you have to listen to me. I'm everything. I think that in the future, everyone will be the sharing business. Everyone, that means whether you are boss or you are staff, I think they should work as a partners. So maybe that means SME have to change their mindset, the way of doing business to adapt into the youngster. So they from the traditional way of doing business, which is labor intensive, we should adapt into the young people, the way they do, you know, on social medias or Instagram or online, all those. I think this is the way, you know, we have to balance up the both sides, you know, to make turn around our country economy into the new wave of the business model, new ways of business transformation, so that we can able to catch up with the young people to pick up on our economy.
Okay, thank you, Dato Michael. We are coming towards the end of the program. It's past 9:30 now. Time flies when we are having fun.
Time flies.
Dato Foo, last question for you. As Papa Employment Agency, so you are involved in recruiting people. Yeah, so I would suspect a lot of your focus now is reaching out to the locals, not only in Sabah, Sarawak. I heard from my friend even in Gurun, Kedah.
Yes.
Got actually some good locals with still that traditional mindset or whatever. As employment agency, how are you going to reach out to them, and what do you think should be the best method, and what kind of students or school leavers will actually thrive right now post MCO, post COVID-19? Dato, over to you.
Actually, now we are strategizing how to attract local to work, and we also realize that we need to work together with the government, like Job Malaysia. So we have been writing to MOHR so as to allow us to access to job portals to see how can we work together with them. That because you see they have a lot of they have a lot of workers registered with them, and we have to find the employer. And of course, just like Datuk Michael mentioned that he had attended a meeting at HRDF this morning, and I believe that government is going to roll out some program, so that we hope that after the announcement of the program, we can capitalize on the program to get more local to work for the employer, to create a win-win situations. So we need the government to support us. It's very important. It's very crucial. And then of course we also need the media to assist us as well, because we need to have some more publicity. The role of the government, the role of the employers, and also the role of the APS. So of course APS now our focus is will be on local recruitment rather than foreign recruitment. So we are still finding an effective way to achieve an optimum result as to the local recruitment, because there are some job provider like JobStreet, all these, they have been established. And we just do a lot of APS is doing in the very small scales. And we need the government to support us. And then also we need Datuk Michael Kang to work closely with us. Datuk Michael,
Yeah.
we need the help,
No,
Datuk
it's
Michael.
I think it's not issue. I think the most important, we need to help each other,
Yeah.
especially employer, employee. I think we need to balance up the each others, and then we help the SME to grow their business so that we can provide more job.
Yeah. Dato
Yeah,
Michael,
because-
Dato Foo, sorry. This reminds me, there's a comment from one of our viewers, Sheldon Ng,
Yeah.
and he says that nowadays, what he says, the young focus on building their own social influence. And that reminds me of one word, all of us are always talking about employment. You work for me, I
Yeah.
pay you salary. But now the
Yes.
young, they have got this new word called the gig economy. Today I work for you, tomorrow I work for another person, so rather than changing jobs, they are
This is what
nomads.
Dato Foo, this I
Today I work
mentioned.
for you,
The type of
tomorrow I
sharing.
work for you on another project. Should we be changing
Yes.
as well? And not only looking at employability. And how is the government, Dato Foo mentioned government needs to step in. How is HRDF stepping into this thing? Because HRDF was established 20 over years, almost 30 years ago. Their act always talks about employment. They don't talk about entrepreneurship, self-employed. They don't talk about the gig economy. So rather than you hire me as your digital marketeer on employment, why don't you hire my services as a digital marketeer? And I can have many, many customers. How is the government looking at this form of gig economy, self-employment, entrepreneurship? And should we employers, also change our way, of working? So rather than employing digital marketeers, why don't we just hire their services? What are your views, Dr. Michael? Last.
Yeah, this is
before
what
we end.
I just mentioned just now. This is why after this pandemic, a lot of business model will be changed. This we talk about share economy, share work, share employee, share
Yeah.
employment. I think these are a share. I think government should seriously look into this group of people, gig
Yeah.
economy. I think when past 2 months when I discussed with the government about the government assistance or like similar package, we totally forgot about this self-employment. I think government also did not consider those self-employment issue. A lot of Malaysians, I think we have a lot of Malaysian under self-employment, but they don't have the company. They don't have the registration with any company. They're just providing the services to different company. Different SME or different these to whoever need their services. I think this is the group of people. I think become more and more in the future. I think this not only in Malaysia. I think this will be worldwide because the youngster like to work. This is the way they go. They provide their services. You can't employ me, but you want my services. You can employ my services. I provide you my services. I think this is the trend to go. That's why I just mentioned. SMEs must change their mindset. They have to work with this kind of young people to engage their services, but not employ the whole young people in work in their company. I think this is the way. I think government should seriously look into this group of people, especially youth, to help them and to build up another group of the entrepreneur. And this is very important. Yeah. I really support on this program.
Yeah,
If
me
government
too.
can look into it, yeah.
Yeah, me too.
Any parting
be-
words from you, Dato Foo? Any advice for the young people out there to find jobs during these tough times?
Don't be choosy. Don't be choosy.
Don't be
Yeah.
choosy. Work hard. Those are
Huh?
great words indeed. So thank you very much, Dato Foo, Yong Hui, President of PAPA,
Yeah.
and Dato Michael Kang, National President of SME Association of Malaysia, for your time. A few lessons we learned today. Foreign workers, yes, they are required, but they are not cheap, and this is a good time for us to gradually wean ourselves off it. I don't know whether it is possible or not, but hopefully the forward-looking companies will look forward. And as you look forward, we need to automate. But the step towards automation is you can't crawl.
Yes.
It's too big a jump. So you need to create steps towards it. And in the meantime, we bring in local workers, train them, upskill them. But there is a big issue with local workers because of mindset and training. And this is a collaborative effort. We need to work with the institutions, the schools. We need to work with the industries, and we need to work with experts. And someone needs to take the leadership role, and that's the government, right? Because you're responsible for the well-being of all. So make sure you put your funds and your grants or your initiatives in the right places. Yeah. And always get the industry's feedback. And I think this is the best time to do it. The MCO give us this golden opportunity. Let's not waste it. And this is my summary of the nuggets of gems provided by Dato Foo and Dato Michael Kang. Thank you again. Good to see you.
Thank you.
And I wish everyone
Thank you, Dato Foo. Thank you, Dato
good night.
Kang.
Stay
Yeah,
safe.
thank you, Dato Foo, thank you,
Thank you.
Bruce.
Thank you.
Thank you.